Charlie, I guess last weekend, a good game to come back into the team for.
Yeah, great game to play. 25,000 people at Portman Road is a game you want to play in, and obviously the way the game went, and then to get a good result, fair to say it was a good result for us against them. So yeah, we're really pleased.
Is that performance the real Cheltenham, do you feel?
I think so. Like you say, sweat on the shirt, last-ditch tackles, blocks, fighting for each other. That's the minimum. And in a game like that, it's obviously highlighted a lot because of, like I said, the way the game went. We had no other choice. So yeah, we know we've got that in us, and a lot of players, that's what they're about. So yeah, that's it was a pleasing performance. Like I said, the way the game went, we had to defend a lot, and we did it heroically at times.
And for you personally, playing in the middle of the three, how does that differ from playing on the right hand side of the three?
Yeah, there's obviously clearly positional differences. Certain things you can't do. Certain things you have to adapt to. Obviously, in that situation, Lou and Longy would be predominantly more aggressive in terms of being on the front foot, and I would be the one that would, like the old school sort of sweeper, if you like. But yeah, it's something I enjoy. You tend to be, it's more of maybe a natural position for a centre back, because you end up being sort of in the middle of the pitch a lot more, either on the left and the right, but only subtle changes to your position. So I'd say a bit more natural. But yeah, it's important to be a voice, and it's something I enjoy doing. So yeah, I like playing in the middle, and obviously I've played a lot of my time on the right. So yeah, no big difference for me personally.
And Caleb Taylor has recovered from his concussion of the previous week, we understand. So some real competition there this week.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb's been brilliant. I've said it before, for such a young man, he's got so much quality as a footballer, composure, really good lad, and he's come in and been a revelation. In a team that's not always going to be dominating games in this league, but he's stood up to the challenge and proven himself already, I'd say, at this level. So yeah, I'm ready to play whenever needed, and but it's good to have someone of Caleb's quality back in the fold.
What are your thoughts on Wycombe? Because obviously they're a tough opponent, and Sam Vokes a real figurehead for their attack.
Yeah, know him quite well now. Obviously, played against Wycombe a lot in terms of the current setup, with the manager. So that obviously lends itself to certain patterns that they do, and obviously Vokes is a massive threat. Yeah, big, strong, physical, played at the highest level, played international football, scored goals at international level. We played against them twice last year, and they caused us a lot of problems. So we know what's coming, or I certainly know what's coming. So I hope that everyone's aware of that, in terms of the physicality that they bring, and the threat that they pose.
And as one of Cheltenham's bigger players, is that physicality battle something that you relish?
Yeah. That's the job. Like you say, a bigger player, but a defender. Maybe now, in the last 10 years, sort of the split has been a bit more 50-50 in terms of you come up against more teams that play like Ipswich now. The MK Dons of the world, Forest Green, whereas in the past you knew that most teams were going to have a big, strong, physical striker. Maybe not of the quality of Sam Vokes, but you knew you were going to have to, like you say, put your tin out on at times. But yeah, something that I relish. I look forward to it, and it will be a tough battle. Yeah.
And obviously obviously against Wycombe last year there was the 5-all. Just, I take it, one of the craziest games you've ever played in.
Yeah, it was crazy. Everyone speaks of it in terms of a great occasion or a great game to watch or whatever. Obviously, I hated nearly every minute of it, really. It was great for Alfie, obviously, and it was a strange game. We reacted well at times and things like that, but I'd rather a 1-0 to Cheltenham tomorrow or something like that.
Yeah, I guess a 1-0 to Cheltenham would be much easier to analyse, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for you as well.
Thanks, Charlie. Good luck.
Cheers, Paul. Thank you.
Charlie, just a couple from me. You mentioned Caleb's maturity and his performances. You've played alongside some good young defenders at Cheltenham, haven't you, over the last few years? Jacob Greaves, Matty Pollock. How do you think Caleb compares? Because they've obviously both gone on to do very well at a high level.
Yeah, I'd say Caleb probably reminds me more of Greavesy in terms of he's, like I said, the composure that stands out really. Real quality on the ball, and that's not to say that Matty wasn't like that, but Matty obviously sort of when you watch him play, what stood out was maybe more the physicality, the aerial sort of prowess, and obviously Caleb's got that in abundance because of his height, but obviously he wants to defend. He's a really good defender. Reads body cues really well, gets his foot to things. It does help when you've got legs the size of his lengthwise, but no, yeah, good defenders that have come in on loan, which is credit to the recruitment team, and he's another one that's I certainly think will go on to have a really good career, and certainly higher up in the football pyramid.
Do you think the Ipswich game was the most blocks you've ever had to make last ditch in a game in your career?
It's hard to think of another game where it was like that. We obviously rode our luck at times, no getting away from that. And yes, we would have loved to have more of the ball and progress further up the field, but it's one of those games where you sort of accept that you're up against it. There's a lot of people there. No one in the ground is giving you a hope, and like I said before, that we ended up relishing that and accepting that we're gonna have to dig in, and you as a defender, I'd probably speak for most defenders, you enjoy it really, and especially when it turns out that you've done your best. From conceding the 7th minute, we've really had to, and all of us did that. It wasn't just defenders. Midfielders, obviously Luke stood up to it, strikers dropping back in to help out. So yeah, it was a real team performance from a defensive point of view, and it was a really positive feeling in the dressing room after the game.
How challenging was it for you physically? Because you have missed a bit of football recently. To get chucked into that and almost be involved in the game for all the way through. Did you sleep well on Saturday night?
Yeah, I did, which is partly due to the fact that my twin girls are now sleeping better. But yeah, it was. I forgot the question actually.
How good was it to sleep, like your night's sleep after?
Oh, physically, I was. Yeah, it was a tough game. I've missed a bit of football, like you say, yeah. So, but I felt fine. Obviously, I trained hard, and I don't just say it because I say it. I am always ready to play. It would be helpful maybe if I was playing sort of 5 to 10 games in a row where you've got that rhythm. But you can't pick and choose these things. It's not down to me. So, like I said before, Ipswich away, Portman Road, 25,000 people. They're the games that you want to play in. Proper football matches, and an occasion that we all relished, and one I certainly enjoyed in the end.
Yeah, I just want to ask you about Lewis Freestone, right? He's obviously suspended for Saturday, but he's played in every other game. So I suppose in a way he's a defensive colleague and a bit of a rival for you, although he plays on the left. But how impressed have you been with his emergence this season? Because there's been times where he's had to wait, and he's obviously played second fiddle to Boye for a lot of the time, but he really's made it his own on the left of the three now, hasn't he?
yeah, yeah. I've said it before, and that's obviously credit to him that he's done that. He's been given a bit more trust this year, I'd say, from the manager and the setup. But he's earned that trust. I've always, it's hard to say I've always liked him, because of course I've always liked him. I've liked him as a bloke first and foremost. He's a really good lad, good character to have in the dressing room first and foremost. But he's the way he trains. He's one of those that it could be, this time of year, even end of November, he'll be out there in short sleeves, and that means nothing to a lot of people, but it just says a bit about him, and he trains hard every day. And those blocks that he was putting in at Ipswich, I see certainly every Friday, we do the small-sided games, you want to be on his team, and that says a lot about him, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm really pleased for him that he's played a lot of football this year. I mentioned before, he's doing well when the fans are singing a song for him, and a pretty good one at that. So yeah, he's done well, and probably as much as I want him to play, and I want him to be, he'll want to play. Hopefully this little break does him good, and then he comes back and he's carries on as he left off.